I'm Michael Reese.
And I'm Woods Davis.
And this is the Digital President Podcast.
We've cracked the code for generating customers online for every business model.
In fact, we wrote the book on it.
You truly can follow your passion and create the life of your dreams,
as long as you have the right strategy.
All right, so on this season of the Digital President Podcast, we're going to be going behind the curtains. That's the theme, behind the curtains. And man, Woods flew in late last night, and just to kind of give you some context, we're super committed. I want to give you a little bit of background on why we decided to go with the theme, behind the curtains. You know, for a lot of you guys, we've been working really hard. I think probably some of our best content, would have been documented the last 6 months, definitely since October. We've been doing a lot of product strategy, helping a lot of agents, really, having our kind of like a dentist hands and mouth, down in the real estate agents' businesses, helping them with, what's working now, coming up with different ideas. And me and Woods were talking about, the podcast, and a bunch of our clients that we're working with said, man, we love the Digital President podcast. We love the Life by Strategy. We love what everything it stands for. We decided, let's bring out this season in 2023. Let's call it Behind the Curtains, and let's just commit to, publishing an episode every month. So Woods flew in today. What time did you get in? Was it 2:30 or 3?
It was 3. Well, no, it was 2:30, but, I wasn't asleep until about 3 o'clock. But, glad to be here. Like, it's always good to be back in Puerto Rico. I already feel like I'm in space, and I always feel like I'm in the strategic mode when we're in here in the lab. So I'm excited for the gold to come out.
Yeah, absolutely. So real life behind the curtains, I'll just kind of give you some context. Yesterday, we went out. First of all, the context is right now, if you followed us, if you read the book Digital President, it's real simple. We wrote a book in 2016, Digital President. If you haven't had a chance, you can go get a copy. I know that Woods has a link. I can give you a link. I think it's at michaelreesebook.com. And I think that there's a digital version right there. You can download a digital version. But here's where behind the curtains are for us. So truthfully, behind the curtains is, we'll tell you what's been going on. We started last year doing specific funnels for real estate agents. So we worked, the Digital President book was written, and when it was written, me and Woods really didn't have much to say when it came to passive income. But in the chapter, I believe it was chapter 7 in the value exchange, one of the things that we had talked about, to put a little bit of more color, when we wrote the book, there was a lot of research. And, if you read the book, the first chapter is Light by Strategy, where basically what this light represents. And that was a goal for us. And this is important for people to understand. We set like a North Star, which was after Woods working through his entire life and career, and me working through my entire life and career, we were like, okay, if we could design our perfect life. And there was this play on words with design. We went with strategy because and at the core, a strategy is more of a plan, right? And for us, we believe that the strategist always wins. There's a lot of context, and you can go deeper into the core root of strategy. But we went with Life by Strategy. And I think right at that time, we were going snow skiing. And so we had like the gondola as a logo, and then we had the chair as the logo, the beach chair. But the concept was really simple. We felt like you could build one funnel, and one funnel could change your entire life, right? And so, bottom line is we wrote the book, and after we wrote the book, Digital President, we started attracting, and originally we thought it was going to be real estate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we originally thought, it was going to be real estate, but we saw the applications because these principles apply to any business. And what's interesting is more and more people from other businesses have been kind of coming to us, that want to apply these, systems and strategies to get, more free in their business. And I think for us, it was at the core, it was, in freedom. And the way that I think about freedom and time freedom is when you got passive income, you're free. You're free to choose what you want to do with your time. And so, originally the whole path was like, okay, you try to make as much money as you can in your business, go invest in real estate, and that's what's going to get your passive income, right? But kind of in between, it seems like we kind of discover some other vehicles that help get there.
And I think the thing is that first of all, we lived it. And so what we lived was we had a chase business, right? And so at the core of Digital President, at the core root, our belief was, hey, listen, if you have one funnel and you have the content and you really add value to the audience and you build this audience and you produce this content, this audience that you could produce with one funnel could, at that point, we had to come up with a number. It was like one funnel. It was kind of like just casual conversation. It was like, man, we've done this funnel and that funnel. And as you build additional funnels and you kind of get pulled in all these different directions, we came to the conclusion that one funnel that was completely integrated and implemented, with, at that time, it was like top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. Then after the, what do you do after they're a client? All of that, strategy, and with content, we felt like, man, one funnel could make somebody probably 5 million a year versus like having 5 or 6 that, make just incremental, gains for people. But the truth is that as we applied that content, and at the time, because we're behind the curtain, at the time, we were going to help, doctors. And this is important for people to understand. We were writing the book for entrepreneurs. This wasn't a book for real estate agents. In particular, we happened to be real estate agents, but at that time, we had other businesses and we had other businesses in the past. And so for our Life by strategy, we wanted to help entrepreneurs. Fast forward, at the core, if you read chapter 1 of the book, it was all coming up with what we call as your freedom number, which is, the freedom number represents when your income that you generate passively, and at the time, again, we'd be on the road, we'd be flying around, we'd be playing, we'd be talking back and forth. Are we trying to say this? Are we trying to say that? If you worked with us, you understand the power of messaging. If you haven't worked with us, you'll understand in the future, if you do, the power of messaging. So we were trying to get on message, and we're like, is the message that we're saying this, or are we saying that? And then the only thing we could apply it to was what we were really trying to say in real life for ourselves. And what we were trying to say is like, listen, man, we want to be able to do what we want, when we want, where we want. And I know that's kind of cliche, but that's what we were saying. We didn't want to live in this reported world. We wanted to work backwards and say, so like if you could design, it was, your perfect day, and you could design whatever you wanted. And I think at the core, with this season, we want to show you that. I remember, Woods, and you hit your freedom, right?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I mean, so Michael, you obviously hit your freedom number quite a bit before me. I mean, I had a little bit of a longer way to go, but I think one of the things that you proved for me is you showed me the path and that it was possible. And I'll be honest, man, when you first of all, obviously when you set a goal, you're going to be a lot more likely to hit it if you're super clear. I knew exactly what my number was. I knew exactly what I needed to do in order to hit my number. And then it was just a matter of doing it. And it took time. But yeah, I hit my freaking freedom number. And now we get to work on the things that we want to do that we feel like add the most value to the world because we have the freedom, in order to be able to do that. But yeah, man, I mean.
So here's what I'm going to tell you. And this is good because, again, we haven't been doing a podcast for a while, like I said, in the lab, but I'm just going to talk to you and share with you something that you don't know. So do you know what's in this box?
No.
So in this box, do you know what's in this box, Jimmy? Okay. So nobody knows what's in this box. This box showed up at my house. Okay. So I'm going to show you a couple things. Does anybody know what this is? Let me show it to the camera. Anyone know what this is? Okay. Does anyone know what this is?
Oh, yeah.
What is it?
The show in Canada, right?
One of the most popular shows in Canada. I want Woods to read this. Okay. I'm going to give Woods this. This showed up at my front door in Puerto Rico. I don't even know how this gentleman got my address.
All right, let's see this. Michael, thank you so much for having my back through everything. I know you played a major part in supporting me. I know you've met Jared, and he sent me some swag for you. Thank you, Mike. Back when we were doing events, you said, Brandon, you're going to spend $20K now to make $20K a month in the future. Well, I had my first $20K month last month. You're the man, Brandon. Yeah, that's awesome, bro.
So Woods didn't even, that showed up at my front door. And I was in the room at our last Freedom Funnel boot camp. And we're not going to get into that now, but you can see Woods' shirt. Woods is in town because we're doing one. But we do these events, and this guy walked up and he was sharing his story, and he was free. And when I say free, it's what Life by Strategy represented. And one of the struggles that we've had was even before today's boot camp, it was like, even before today's podcast, it was all branding, and we were going back and forth. Is it light by strategy? Is it freedom funnel? And the truth is if you read Digital President, there's a chapter on light by strategy. There's a chapter on the freedom funnel. There's other people that reached out to me just like that individual. Blake Weaver sent a text message. You saw it, right? You didn't see it? Where it said, let me read this to you. And I'm assuming we can edit it in on the screen, but check this out. So Blake Weaver sent me a text message, and it said, or it was a messenger message. I thought you were on it. Let me pull this up real quick. And when I got the message from Blake, the first thing that I did is I wanted to share it with somebody, because to me, this is what it's all about. I'll read that off of my cell phone. And you were CC'd on that, by the way.
Yeah, let me see here. Okay. It ain't what y'all see, but this means a lot to me. My goal is my freedom number, 5K a month. And so it looks like he said, I brought two in yesterday, signed up yesterday, and he has a snapshot of
passive income is what? He's 50% to his freedom number. And so, the real purpose, when me and Woods, I said to Woods, listen, and Woods would say this to me. Woods, when I first moved to Puerto Rico, Woods was like, you're living your life by strategy. It's authentic. You've hit your freedom number. And this was right before you were about to hit yours. Yeah. And the truth is that, what this podcast is about is it's about, helping people be put on the path. And for us, we have an entire philosophy of the path. I'm not going to get off context. Maybe that'll be another episode on, what we feel like, why it's important to have free cash flow in your business. Bill Ackman, who's a big hedge fund guy, says, when I invest in a business, I only look for, free cash flow. And there's actually a formula for it. Well, just so the coincidence in the free cash flow that Bill Ackman only looks for as a hedge fund manager is almost, if you take the definition of how we help people with production, a cash cow is literally the same thing. And a cash cow represents a step in the path of getting free. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking you behind the curtain. We're going to be sharing the stories, not only the success stories, and interviewing these people so they can tell you about how they went from one state, maybe where they were in a position where they weren't free. They were living by transaction, which is really just worried about where the next deal was going to come from, which it's so hard to dream when you're trying to survive. And that's what our mission is. Our mission and our purpose, is really to help entrepreneurs, really get put on the path to have what is equivalent to free cash flow, where you build a business where the income coming in exceeds the expenses and pays you enough money that exceeds all your expenses every single month consistently, so you can be put on the path of really investing. And the most important step in that process is going from transactions to leverage with systems, digital marketing, funnels. And that's really at the root of what we do is we identify where people are, we put them on the path, we teach them the systems and processes that give them the leverage so that they can get to the point where they're investing. And as I was sharing with you, Woods, I said, there becomes a point where, there's nothing you can do that's more leverage than managing your money. When you do things right, that the money that you've built, the savings, the things that you now get to invest in, the opportunities that you get to have to get that money to work for you is one of the most freeing experiences that you can have, because they say it takes money to make money. That's not true. Because when you don't have money and you need money, then what you're doing is you're put in this situation where you're trying to play not to lose. When you're incrementally, when you don't have free cash flow and you have good months and bad months, then you're taking the cash that you make and you're thinking, well, maybe next month won't be good. I better hang on to my cash, right? Instead of when you're consistently generating, it unlocks that abundance thinking, which just changes the paradigm, which unlocks and puts you on the momentum to living strategically. And, I think 99% of it is being able to get around people. Sometimes, it's that voice in your head, like when we do ultra marathons and, you're in your head, you want to keep pushing. We got a great story about that. But just knowing, having sometimes relying on the voice in your head, but sometimes it's having someone like Woods where it's like, man, I need I need someone to talk to. I need another voice. My voice is getting weak. You know, effort is the energy it takes to overcome. I'm feeling a bunch of resistance here. The force of average, you know, things are happening to me, making it harder. And how do you push through? And we hope that this podcast is going to be what's the word? The voice in your head that you can plug into.
Well, it
can also be the demonstration. I think our goal with taking everybody behind the curtain this year is to demonstrate to what massive offense looks like. Because when you're starting to shrink back, before you can cross over to that abundance mindset, and you're still living month to month, you're living deal to deal, you're always defaulting back to a state of defense. Even when you make progress and you get wins, you're still wanting to protect those wins versus just thinking about more offense. How can I score more? How can I run up the score? And so I think what we can do this year to add the most value to you guys, to the audience, is to just take you guys behind the scenes, show you how we play massive offense, how we're doing events. Absolutely, we have fumbles, interceptions, turnovers. We've ran the ball into the wrong end zone and got tackled. Everything that you can think of. But the point is that when you take massive action, you're going to ultimately hit the target. You're going to ultimately find the goal. And more importantly, too, when you have a life by strategy and you take a little time to be strategic up front, you can get there.
When you take massive action, you know, I've been saying the more action I take, the luckier I get. It's not that it's massive action. Massive action leads to learning, right? So what happens in every scenario where we lose or win, we learn. And I think that that's the commitment that this episode is. You don't have to make the mistakes we've made. You know, our goal is to share them with you and help you get the shortcut to the path so that you can get the models for making decisions, because it's way easier to grow fast than it is to grow slow. And our mission is to put you on the path and give you the principles, the frameworks, and the application to know step by step. Here's where I'm at. Principally, here's why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling about my business. This isn't true. It's not me. I'm disobeying the law of direct response marketing, our content marketing, our value proposition, our follow-up, our, you know, whatever the principles are that you need, are leverage, right? And so our goal is I had a lady, she met with you, and this is what she said to me. She was like, this is what I've been trying. How many times have you heard this? This is exactly what I've been trying to do. Y'all just help me put all the pieces together. And when we take you behind the curtain this season on the Digital President Podcast, we're going to teach you how to put all the pieces together to put you on the path so you can live your life by strategy.